The bottom line is it feels like JK does not want to play with the Golden State Warriors, which is what we talked about ad nauseum all offseason. When the season was over, I remember you and Spadoni Shafsky asked me, what are the chances Kuminga comes back and plays with Golden State Warriors? And I said there's a 90% chance he's not coming back. And now you look at the situation, it's clear as day. He's betting on himself. Warrior fans could say he's an idiot for doing that, and maybe his career works out, and maybe it does not work out. But we do it in all walks of life. Shasky, you left your sales job. You bet on yourself and went to 95-70 game. Hell, I bet on myself and went to NBC Sports Bay Area. Evan Giddings, you bet on yourself and made it a point to make this your career. We bet on ourselves in all walks of life. So I'm not going to fault the young men for doing that. But the fact that we're here, and I could kind of see it coming once he started playing well in the second round of the playoffs, because all of a sudden he's playing like that. And I know they didn't win a game because Curry didn't play, but he played well. Jimmy played well at times. What about the guys who did not play well? And I could go down the list of guys who did not play well in that series. And all of a sudden he's saying, you know what? I've been here for 4 years. My role has fluctuated. Like, how about this? JK's been here for over 4 years. You know how many times he's played over 30 minutes in a basketball game?
15.
42 times over the course of his career, including Jackie Robinson. He's played over 30 minutes. Now, when he does play 30 minutes a game, the numbers are comparable to Franz Wagner down in Orlando. I mean, he gives you over 26 rebounds or whatnot. Now, you could say, does it impact winning? Well, who's in the lineups? Who's he playing next to? Is he playing next to Steph? Is he playing next to Clay? Is he playing next to Draymond Green? So the whole situation just stinks because I do think the young man has a promising skill set. And you look at the league, wings, defenders, on-the-ball defenders, guys who can go get their buckets. And look, it's hard playing with Stephen Curry. There's a lot of guys who don't know how to screen or win the screen. They don't have the instincts to screen for a guy like Stephen Curry. So I don't know where this is going, but it sounds like JK has played his final game with the Golden State Warriors.
So I think there's so many. I mean, there's a contingent that no matter what Jonathan Kuminga does, they're going to be mad, right? So let's not acknowledge that aspect. I think where a bulk of fans get frustrated is the domino effect of his decisions and what path he chooses has ramifications on how the Warriors can build their team. And I do understand their point of view on the frustration of the situation as a whole, but I zoom out and I'm like, the organization also bears a big brunt of this, and I don't think we're giving them enough of the same kind of energy.
No doubt. Hey, look, I understand both sides of this. Look, we're all Warrior fans. We want to see them do well. And when they do well, it's good for business. Radio, television, Chase Center, it's great for business. Jonathan Kuminga is using his leverage. And what we all want in life is leverage, right? We want leverage in every profession. If you can gain leverage and gain a little bit of power, you're going to get paid. You're going to be able to dictate things on your terms, which is what JK and his agent, Aaron Turner, are trying to do. They're trying to dictate things on their terms and use all the levers they can to get the deal or play on the team that they want to play on. Now, I wish they can reconcile. I wish JK was a member to Golden State Warriors because I see JK on a roster with Horford, Melton, and Jimmy and Steph and Draymond. I'm like, all right, cool. We're cooking with something here because I believe in JK's skill set. And I believe he can help this team elevate in the Western Conference. But yes, the organization, whether or not it was training, putting them part of a package for Lowry Marketed, putting them in a package for Paul George, or maybe trading them out their second year, because I get why the young man is growing frustrated, and I get why some Warrior fans are growing frustrated because every time he elevates his game, he gets hurt. Or he elevates his game and he comes back and he's coming back slowly and he's rusty or whatnot. So, look, the organization, they do bear some of the brunt of this. They do bear some of the blame for the way the situation has come. But training camp's not until October. We still got some time, and the Warriors are going to slow play this until they get the best deal that they can get. Is the Malik Monk deal good? I like Malik Monk as a player. Defensively, you're going to give up some things, right? They want an unprotected first-round pick. Sacramento doesn't want to give that up. So the Warriors, at least by waiting, has forced Sacramento, if this is true, this Malik Monk proposed deal, all of a sudden we've gone from Devin Carter, Dario Saric to Malik Monk. Now, can you get the Keegan Murray? Good, that's what I want to know. So the Warriors, by slow playing this, have already gotten Sacramento to up the ante in a potential deal for Jonathan Kuminga to sign a trade.
Yeah, I'm with you, B. I think it's 50-50 for me. I think both sides are equally culpable in this. But in regards to the Kings offer, I thought it was notable that Amick mentioned that Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis hadn't even been discussed. And maybe that would be the next level of of a potential buy for Golden State. But it sounds like the protection, at least in this particular offer, was the hang-up. I do have to ask you, though, because like one thing that I agree wholeheartedly. We have all bet on ourselves in life, and we all, I think, strive to in some way, shape, or form. However, betting on yourself in this situation looks like a qualifying offer. And I just don't know how coming back to a situation that you already don't want to be in, your employer knows you don't want to be in, like creating that sort of toxic environment. I'm not just saying from the Warriors' perspective, but also for Kuminga, where you're kind of on an island if you come back into training camp. And it to me, it'd be more with the coaching staff than it is with your actual teammates. I don't think that players hold it against guys who are trying to get theirs and improve their careers. But to me, that it can't happen for both sides, because I think it just creates too toxic of a situation for both Kuminga and the Warriors, and that's why eventually this has to be rectified, though I understand the one card that JK's camp has to play is that he will opt into that 7.9.
Hey, well, I thought it was laughable the whole time when I heard about this, maybe a month ago or 3 months ago when somebody said, well, JK can sign a short-term deal, knowing that the Warriors are going to trade end of February.
Yeah,
really? You think that's going to work out? It sounds good. And then you get to the games. And then you get to a rabid fan base hyper-focused on everything JK's doing. Yeah. Oh, wait, he just walked by Steve Kerr. They didn't even look at each other. Oh, wow, JK looked all Stephen Curry. Oh, how dare he look out Stephen Curry. All that, come on. Like, let's live in the real world for a second. You're going to tell her, hey, accept the qualifying offer. We're going to trade you in February. And you think you're going to, we just read a story from Tarvarius Ward, who, God bless his soul, lost his daughter. But Tarvarius Ward came into training camp last year, seeing everybody hold out, seeing everybody get their money and saying, oh, they're going to come at me for a contract extension? Well, you know what? I don't care what happens the first 6 weeks. He admitted that he did not care about the results of the game. He was just out there to get his. So you think a 22-year-old won't do that?
Yep.
Going into a situation, and boy, I feel like my growth has already been stunted for the last 4 years. I played the best basketball. I sprained my ankle in early January. They trade for Jimmy. All of a sudden, I'm not playing anymore. I don't play basically the entire Houston series. And all of a sudden, Steph gets hurt, and they ask me to play, and I play well. The hell with that. So that whole nonsense about, oh, yeah, let's just sign him. And JK, not wink, we're going to trade you in February. Yeah, that's going to be a toxic situation. And that's not all on JK. That's the organization as well. Knowing that a player is speaking about, I'm going to be elsewhere in 4 months. Maybe I don't go hard on the screen. Maybe I don't go hard on the stride. Maybe I don't close out on this opponent because I don't want to get hurt, because I want my value to be good enough to get traded to another team and maybe get paid when I become an unrestricted free agent next summer. Yeah, it's bad right now, man. As a fan zooming out, this is not a good look for both parties, but I hope things blow over, honestly, because I think the young man has a lot of talent.
Blow over. That's an interesting way of putting it, because like in times of crisis, like I always look at someone like John Lynch as a great example. Like various points in time, he'll sit somebody down, and like it feels like he has the credibility and the wherewithal and just the human touch to be able to get everyone on the same page. Whether that's true or not, I have that sense he is able to do that. I'm sure Jerry West was viewed as such for the Grizzlies and the Lakers, and even at times for the Warriors. Who would be that guy right now with the organization to get everyone on the same page? If that were to happen, do they even have someone in position to do that?
Yeah, Bob Myers would have been great in this situation, right? But this is where Joe Lacob, Mike Dunleavy, and Steve Kerr, and I think it's more important for Steve Kerr, because that, to me, is where the disconnect is, where Steve Kerr and JK. It's obvious. When JK had that game against Denver a couple of years ago, didn't play the final 18 minutes, Denver goes on a 25-4 run, you'll get just the half-court shot. And then, so there's an article an hour later saying, that's the straw that broke the camel's back, get me out of here. Next thing you know, Steve Kerr and JK meet the next day, JK gets a haircut, and next thing you know, he averages damn near 20 the rest of the season. Well, we know how that season ended, right? They lost in the playing game. But obviously, there's a disconnect with JK and Steve Kerr in the way Steve Kerr wants JK to play. Now, Steve Kerr mentioned names like Sean Marion, and JK became Sean Marion. I think every Warrior fan in the world would be happy. Sean Marion was no scrub, a guy who averaged over 15 and 8 for the course of his career, was a three-time All-Star, all-defensive player with blocked shots. I would love for JK to be a player like that. But in this situation, to repair this situation, I believe it has to come from Steve Kerr. And they got to have a heart-to-heart with JK, but maybe that trust has been broken now, because it has been 4 years. And when you watch the way this season played out, that trust may be gone, and JK may be at a point of no return saying, yeah, I'm not buying it. I've been here for too long. I want to move on here. So, look, Joe Lacob loves JK. I know that for sure. I know the Lakers love him. Does Dunleavy love him? I'm not sure where Dunleavy stands in this situation, but I don't love the fact that people are just willing to give away a 22-year-old athletic marvel who could defend on the perimeter, who could go get a bucket in a league that's full of young stallions running. You look at the Western Conference, you need a guy like JK. That's what we're looking for. So it would have to be from Steve Kerr, and I don't know if that trust is still there between JK and Steve Kerr.
I don't think that this relationship is going to be able to be reconciled. The one between Kerr and Kuminga, and it's because of what you talked about. Like, there are breadcrumbs all over the place in the last 2 years. And last week was just another headline that confirms he does not believe that he is going to reach his potential with Steve Kerr as his head coach. I think it was a couple of years ago from his camp. He doesn't believe he can develop under Steve Kerr. It's all synonymous. It's all the same. Like, it's just written different ways. JK does not feel like he is going to achieve whatever he believes that he can with Steve Kerr as his head coach. And so that to me is the crux of the issue. If Kerr wasn't here, they might be able to talk this thing out. But I think that last week when we heard from Slater that Kerr has reached out to try and bridge things with, like, he doesn't want to hear that. And I completely understand why. And that's why I think going into training camp, the Warriors have to find a way to get something for him, because the one thing that I don't want to be reading about continuously or hearing about is how is Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga's relationship? Because that's about the only thing that people are going to be asking about come October 21st on opening night.